Hello everyone, Bruffy1322 here, and today I'm going to show you an extra special trick to use at the start of races in GTA Online. Now I'm sure you're probably all aware of the regular boost because that's been well covered and that's what I'm doing in this race here. But this is something a little bit extra, and as you can see, even though I got the regular boost, this guy just comes flying past me. And even though he started behind me, he finishes in front of this race, even though I got the regular boost, which theoretically should be the quickest, and that's what we all believe to be the quickest way to start a race. But that's not true. There's something a little bit extra that you can do to go even quicker than that. So first of all, let's take a look at the different starts that we have. So the first one is obviously the most basic, and that's not getting a boost at all. Now the success of this is dependent on how much wheel spin you get at the start. So if you just hammer your foot on the throttle, your finger on the right trigger, then you get a load of wheel spin at the start, and you don't get quite as good of a start as if you do what I did here, which is modulating the throttle and trying to minimize the amount of wheel spin you get. There's around a 0.2 of a second difference in the start at that point, depending on whether you get a lot of wheel spin or no wheel spin. But generally that's the slowest start that you can get because you don't get the added benefit of the boost. And as you can see on this track, I got a 22.092 seconds. So next up we've got the regular boost, which everybody knows about. You don't do anything when the countdown starts, and then as soon as go pops up on the screen, you press your finger on the trigger and away you go. Now the success of this is dependent on how close you get to pressing the accelerator as soon as go pops up. So the closer you get to pressing it when go pops up, the quicker you'll get off the line. Again, there's about a 0.2 of a second difference between getting it right and getting it a little bit wrong. But in general, you're always going to be a lot quicker than just getting the regular start. And as you can see here on this one, I managed to get a 21.659, so about half a second quicker. So now let's look at the super boost. Now this gives you a lot more speed coming off the start, and it allows you to accelerate a lot quicker. So it just looks like the regular boost, and the success of it is also dependent on how quickly you can press the accelerator when go pops up. There is a little bit more variance to this one, which means that if you get it right and you practice it, you can get even more significant gains, but even if you don't do it very well, you're still going to be a lot quicker than the regular boost. It is a little bit harder to do, and there is a little bit more involved with actually getting it done successfully, but if you manage to do it, you will make significant gains. As you can see here, I managed to get a 21.378, which is 0.3 of a second quicker than the regular boost. Now that doesn't sound like much, but it does have a significant effect at the start of a race, as I'll show. So the question is, how do we do it? What do we actually have to do to get this done successfully and get our advantage at the start of a race? Well, half of it is the same as the regular boost. You just have to press your finger on the trigger as soon as the go pops up. But the important difference is that you need to be accelerating throughout the countdown process. So before the countdown has even begun, you need your finger hard down on the trigger and accelerating the car to its maximum, as you can probably hear. Then, when the 1 in the countdown starts to disappear, you need to take your finger off the trigger and then start the race as normal. So you don't want to be accelerating all the way to the end, because that will just give you a normal start, but you take your finger off the trigger as 1 starts to disappear, and then you put it back on when go pops up. Now the trick with getting a better start is just the same as the regular boost. It's all about how quickly you can put it on as soon as go pops up, and that is determined by your timing of when you release the accelerator when the 1 is on the screen. It's all about a little bit of practice. So now you should be releasing the accelerator, obviously this is the most important point, and then as soon as go pops up, that's when you put your finger on the trigger. You don't want to leave it too late, otherwise you'll get the normal start, and you also need to make sure that you start accelerating before the countdown begins. If you just start accelerating after the countdown begins, you also get your normal start, as I show here. Also, it doesn't matter when you start accelerating in the start phase, if you do it right at the start or even just before the 3, as I show here. As long as you start accelerating before the actual 3 comes up in the countdown, you will be able to do this move successfully. So just to finish off this video, I'll show a few examples in a racing situation. I got a crewmate, Trower, to come in and help me with this. Basically I said that I would use the regular boost and he would use the super boost. In the final example, the third example, I will use the super boost as well, and I actually get my quickest time on this little drag strip. And as you'll be able to tell, it's all about how well you do the boost, and it just does take a little bit of practice, but the more you practice with it and the better you get, the better gains you will see. But as you can see here, even though I got a good regular boost start, it didn't matter because even though he was second, he ends up winning the race with the super boost. So give this a try by all means, you know, go into a lobby on your own or even just a random racing lobby and try it out. It does take a little bit of getting used to. Sometimes you do a normal start when you don't time it quite right, but as soon as you do get used to it, you start seeing significant gains as you're seeing on the screen now. And it just gives you a little bit of an advantage over those people who are even doing the regular boost. All the credit and thanks does go to the guys in my crew who did a lot of testing on it, you know, made sure it worked, found out about it and then passed on the information to me. Then I did my own testing as you've seen in this video and passed it on to you guys. Now it's your job to pass it on to everybody else, so share the video around, let people know about it and start practicing it for yourself so you have an early advantage over everybody else. As usual as well, leave all your comments down below if you've tried this out, if it has made a noticeable difference to your racing. If you haven't tried it out, why not? Is it, do you see it as a little bit of a risk that you might get it wrong over the regular boost? Is it not quite worth it? Or are you going to try it and just get every advantage that you can? So let me know down below. Also leave all your likes if you enjoyed the video, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to check around because I do a lot more racing oriented things on GTA Online. So thanks a lot for watching everyone, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.